You're listening to the Parents of Hardworking Teens podcast, episode 81, Ability versus Capacity, and bridging that gap between your teen now, how they're doing now, their results, confidence, life balance, and their potential. A word we're potentially all too familiar with and might just be a little bit tired of hearing and using. So let's see if we can make it all a little bit more tangible. Ready? I'm Katie Jones, and with over 15 years in education as an award-winning high school teacher, international external examiner, and as a study coach, I've helped thousands of students skyrocket their results and confidence. And this podcast is where I share all my insights, tactics, and tips with you, the parent, so you can help your hardworking teen get happy, smart, and successful in their study, and have you both enjoy the journey along the way. This is the Parents of Hardworking Teens podcast. Hey VIPs, Happy New Year. I hope you've had a really wonderful Christmas break, a happy holiday, and some really enjoyable and relaxing and fun times. I've got to tell you, I have struggled to get back into work mode this time. I'm usually pretty good with having a break and getting rejuvenated and then diving back in full of beans. But I had to really gradually ramp back up this time. I think it might be my age. Or maybe I just needed a bit more of a break than I thought. Or maybe the break might have been a little bit too relaxing. Mine and my husband's families are all in England, so we took ourselves off for a little getaway for 4 days over actual Christmas. We hired a little cabin that had a wonderful view just over the border into rural New South Wales. We took our dog. We ate lots of good food. I took a stack of books and was very overambitious there. I only just finished the one that I was already on. But I did also take a sketch pad and some charcoal and some sketching pencils, which were my Christmas gift to myself. And I did do one sketch. It's just something that I've kind of been liking the idea of having a go at again. I used to be half decent at drawing at school in art. I definitely did not go to art school. I am not creative. I'm no good at making anything up. I just like to have a go at copying from photos or pictures of some sort. But I enjoy it and I'm aiming to do a little bit here and there. So that was a good time for me to give it a go. And it actually went a little bit better than I expected. So that was awesome. I just loved the whole trip. And I'm totally back on deck now. I have been for about the last week or so. And I really am now ready and raring to go with 2024. And I know that for anyone in the Northern Hemisphere, you are fully already back into term. But for everyone here in Australia and New Zealand, you might not quite want to be thinking about back to school just yet. So I'm doing that for you. And you can just come along for the ride to ease back in. And listening to this podcast is a great way to do that. So hopefully this episode will give you a bit of a boost and a zing to get this year started, because I'm going to share a little bit about my experiences with students' ability versus their capacity, and how the gap between where they're at now and their potential is often a lot smaller than we might think. So I hope this gets things off to a positive start for the year, because I talk a lot about that word potential. I probably overuse it, to be honest, but I hear it so much from parents and from teachers saying, oh, they have so much potential, or they're not yet working at their potential, or I just want them to achieve their potential. So I can't help but use it a lot myself. And of course, I see it myself in students as well. And I think of potential as the results or outcomes that can be achieved if. And that if is our capacity. If we were operating at capacity, and I'm not talking about increasing your team's workload, increasing their capacity that way. I'm talking about utilizing our full capacity without more effort required. And a quick Google dictionary search, capacity is the amount that something can produce, or the ability or power to do or understand something, or a person's competence. And in my experience, our capacity for things, including your team's capacity to achieve the results they're capable of with more confidence and less stress, is often greater than we realize. Because we can see our current ability, we know our current results, and for your team that might be academic results or grades, or it might be their current study life, like it takes them twice as long as it needs to write an essay, or they get highly stressful exams, or they end up with at least 3 false starts when starting an inquiry or investigation. We can see our current results, our current ability, but it is less easy to recognize our current capacity. And if we uncovered that and found the tweaks or had the awareness or the insights in order to utilize that full capacity, then we'd be able to meet and live up to and live out our potential. That's why I always say that I'm all about the how. How can we get your team achieving their potential? What capacity do they have right now that they perhaps don't even realize? And how do we make sure they're operating at that full capacity? Because often they have more knowledge and better understanding of their subjects than their results are showing. Just because they're not doing things or showing things in the right, in inverted commas, way, in the way the task or essay or exam question demands. So their capacity is what they are actually capable of right now. It's just not being shown. It's like a water hose you're using to spray your car being at half the capacity because it has a kink down the line somewhere. The ability of that hosepipe to spray water is 50% right now. It has the capacity to spray at 100%. It has the potential to clean the car faster and better if we got rid of the kink that's limiting it. And I'll share a non-study example, and then I'll share with you a couple of study examples. So I had this happen for me at the gym. It would be about 3 or 4 years ago now. And I got a personal trainer for a few months to work on some strength training because I'd had a few annoying little injuries here and there over the years, and I wanted to improve my technique because I hadn't upped my weights or really upped anything over the few years up to that point, and I wanted to get some progress, but I also didn't want to be pushing anything in case I got injured again. So anyway, first session, and I got a whole new set of PBs in that first session with the biggest jumps that I'd ever had, and I can say was ever to have again. So, for example, my maximum squat went up from something like, it was 60 or 65-ish kilos, and it went up to 75, maybe even 80, but whatever, let's say it's a 15 kg increase. And that wasn't because I suddenly got stronger. It was because the trainer could see the small things that I was doing wrong and a few things I wasn't doing at all that I needed to be, and knew the things that I didn't know but weren't hard to do or change with just a few practices. That meant my technique was then safer, so I had less likelihood of injuries, and meant that I was also able to perform better. And this is how students get better results and spend less time on their study. For example, one of the videos, it's Tara's video on the 10WGT, 10-Week Grade Transformation Program summary page. You can see her dad, or you can hear her dad, literally says those words, better results with less time or less effort. I will put a link in the show notes if you want to go check that out. But let's also be clear, does this mean that every student has the capacity to be getting straight A's or doing every task in half the time? No, of course, this is different for everyone. When I talk about capacity, I'm talking about the potential that we personally have at that moment, that your team has in this moment. It's the grades and results that they are personally capable of with their current subject knowledge and understanding. If they had the technique and skill to apply it and use it in the way that maximizes their marks and optimizes their performance and their confidence, because I'm not going to lie, I felt good about my new PBs, and I also had more confidence in what I was doing and how I was doing it. Because it's exciting for students when they realize they're capable of a fair bit more than they realized, and to know that they have that within them. It's not a case of, if I slog my guts out and totally flog myself, I might achieve such and such a result type thing. It's, turns out I already had this in me. I just needed the know-how, the skill, the awareness, the things I didn't know. And when we think about capacity rather than potential, I think it makes things a little bit more tangible. Because I don't know about you, but when I think about potential, it feels like a faraway thing. Like, I believe it's a possibility, but maybe only if I change things up, or only way off in the future. It's a possibility, there's the potential for that to happen, but capacity is what we have inside of us now. It's a reality that is ready and waiting. So I'll give you a couple of real life examples. Sophie emailed me after attending with her mum one of my webinars. She emailed to tell me that she had gone from almost failing her English exam on one day to then getting just some basic command word insights and training on one of my free webinars that evening, and then getting 77% in her chemistry exam the day after. Now, of course, it could be that she just wasn't great at English and she was brilliant at chemistry, but Sophie said it wasn't that. She was actually disappointed with her English result and then pleasantly surprised by her chemistry, and realized from the webinar and what she'd picked up in those insights that it was because she wasn't dissecting and answering questions in the right way before. So she removed that kink from the hose to operate at full capacity and then achieved a result that matched her potential. Beth went from getting B's and C's in her assignments and exams right through years 7 to 9 to then getting 7 A's in her next report card after completing the 10-week grade transformation program. And she didn't suddenly become a genius in those subjects. I certainly wasn't teaching any subject knowledge. We don't cover any subject content in the 10WGT. It was because she got the missing pieces of her study puzzle into place that then had her operating at her full capacity without studying longer or harder. And that is how these big improvements happen so quickly for so many students. It's about having them operate at their capacity so they can achieve their potential. It's about realizing that they've been driving with the handbrake on or they've been using the hose with a kink or 5 kinks in it. And these are problems or limitations that are quick to rectify and are not rocket science or difficult to do. And when students specifically learn the information, the skills and concepts that enable them to perform or achieve at that higher level, each of those tweaks, those insights and know-hows might be small on their own, just like the small tweaks to form for a squat PB, but they create big results when you suddenly increase your PB in the gym or in an exam result by a significant jump. And I hope that this gives you and your teen a really optimistic and positive way to start the year. And if you'd like to learn some specific insights, concepts, and skills that your teen might be missing and find out if they have any blind spots or any technique tweaks, any kinks that could be taken out that could massively boost their results and confidence, then these are what I'm sharing to kick off our first Facebook Live session of the year. It's on Wednesday, 17th of Jan at 7 p.m. AEST, so that's 8 p.m. if you're on Eastern Daylight Time, and check your time zone, everybody else. If you're not on Facebook, I'll also be streaming live via Zoom, and you will get a link for that if you are on my email list. It is going to be a bigger class-style session, a super session, I'm going to call it, where I cover more concepts, go into more detail than our usual monthly Facebook Lives, so don't miss it. If you're listening after January 17th, don't worry, the recording will be up on the Rock Solid Study Facebook page, so you can still go check that out. And if you know anyone else who might benefit from this sort of support or information right now, then send them a screenshot of this podcast or tag them in one of our Facebook or Instagram posts. And you could fulfill your capacity as a great friend by helping someone else with that. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week. I will meet you back here next week if I don't see you before that on the live class. And here's to making this an awesome 2024. Have a good one. Bye. If you're ready to have your teen achieve their best possible results with less stress, then I want to invite you to enroll them in the 10-week Grade Transformation Program, where they're going to learn the key concepts, skills, and strategies to catapult their performance in assessments and exams. It's risk-free. They either achieve bigger and better results with a whole lot more confidence in 10 weeks, or we refund you in full. Just head over to www.rocksolidstudy.com/program, and I'll see you there.